Buffalo Bills are en route to the playoffs.
Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now. Stand up now, come on and shout. Yeah,
Buffalo Bills go undefeated. And we're going to the Super Bowl.
Right
Yeah.
now, baby.
Say you will.
Come on, come on.
Say you will.
No one
Come on
circles the
and
wagon
shout.
like the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
All right, we are live, and we are back. Welcome to another episode of the Overdue Bills podcast, and we're definitely excited to be back. We told you we was gonna take a little bit of a hiatus, but free agency is here. Free agency is here. The draft is soon approaching, and there's a lot of things to talk about, and we definitely wanted to be with you guys. We told you Overdue Bills, you know what I mean, the conglomerate, we're trying to take it to another level. So, we're here. I got the gang with me. Shout out to, our guy, Matt, a.k.a. Military Matt. Matt, what's up with you, man?
Nothing much, man. Season 3. I'm excited to be back. It's gonna be our best year ever. The Bills' best year ever. Let's get rolling.
Matt, I love the positivity. Matt had a lot of positivity, for the past 2 years, or probably all his life. And he's keeping the trend going. And shout out to that. But, we have our guy, Optimistic Rad. Rad, what's up with you, man?
Man, I'm good, bro. I'm happy to be back, Pie. And I miss this, man. I miss Pie. I miss talking Bills. Maybe because we just had a good season. Maybe that's what it was. But shit, I still missed it. So I'm happy to be back.
Absolutely. And before we really get into anything, Matt, can you please let the people know who was our presenting sponsor for the past 3 years?
Re-up.
Perfect. Now we got season 3. Our guys are back. They're gonna be with us all season. So shout out to them. This episode and every other episode this season is gonna be brought to you by the good people at Buffalo Wing Kings. Being from Buffalo, there's 2 things that the guys at Overdue Bills Pod know. That's Bills football, and that's wings. Our first choice and the best choice is Buffalo Wing Kings. At Wing Kings is Wings 101 with over 101 different flavors and their beloved Wing of the Month special. They're sure to school any other wing place around. Stop by and see them over at their location on Elmwood at 484 Elmwood Avenue. Or give them a call at 716-248-1427 and find out why they say, and we know, they have the best wings in town, hands down. And make sure you mention our name, Overdue Bills Podcast. Get 10% off your order. They're available on DoorDash, Uber Eats, or you could just call them up, go pick them up, man. They're definitely the best wings in town, hands down.
Absolutely. Shout out to Buffalo Wing Kings. We definitely appreciate them. We definitely want you to go get some wings. So shout out to them. But let's do this. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping before we get into the show. Just quickly. Shout out to the website overduebillspod.com. Overduebillspod.com. If you watched the beginning of this show, we had a little preview of the merch. We wanted to show y'all what was going on. We definitely got some merch. It flew off the shelves, man. It definitely flew off the shelves. But we have some pieces. We got some pieces. So please go to the website, get your merch. We got all of our post-game, pre-game podcast episodes, all of those amazing things. We have some interviews that we had last year, and we're getting ready to do some interviews. We're ramping everything up, and we just want everybody to be tuned in. So please follow us, like, share all of our socials, Overdue Bills Pod, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of those amazing things. And I just want to say this, shout out to all the fans. We appreciate y'all for sticking with us. This is, season 3, and we're ready to go to that next level. With that being said, quick question of the day. And I need the fans to let me know how y'all feel about this. How do y'all feel, and I'm going to go to Matt first, about Cole Beasley requesting a trade? How do you feel about that? What do you feel is going on? What's the underlying thing?
Well, I know Brandon Beane said there's no bad blood, but I think that Cole Beasley and his camp are just being proactive. I mean, the writing is on the wall. We're going to talk about our cap space and that type of stuff in a little bit. But, Cole is seen as probably the number 1 or the number 2 cap casualty this year. And with the emergence of Gabe Davis and some younger guys, that we have in the wide receiver room, and guys that are also free agents like Isaiah McKenzie. It just he kind of may have saw that he might have been cut to save a little bit of money. So I think it's just those guys being proactive to test the market, and maybe getting us something out of it, because we end up cutting them. We only end up saving a little bit of money. Maybe we can get a draft pick or something out of it.
Right.
I could be wrong, but from what I heard, maybe it's just he said, she said, but I think his agent said they approached him or something like that, or it was like something like, it wasn't like he want to leave. It was like they approached him about something, a contract or whatever, and that's maybe this is a response to it, like, well, at least let me get a trade, or maybe they asked for a type of a pay cut or something like that. I don't know what happened, but I do know, I think the agent put out there that the Bills, they approached them about him. Just that's what I heard.
I think it was.
That's what I read.
I think it was along the lines of a restructure. And we're going to talk about it in a cap situation, but I think that they obviously they wanted to restructure his deal for obvious reasons. Maybe they didn't necessarily want to restructure, and this is the follow. You're right. But how do you feel about it?
I think I would love to have Beasley. I think that was like a safety valve for Josh. When we needed him, when he played, he was good in moments. But I understand that he's about to be 33 this year. So if he's not willing to take a pay cut, this is definitely the year. This you got to get. You can't rely on a 33-year-old. Probably progressing as our third receiver. So maybe even 2A, 2B receiver. So I think Bills need to. I want Bills to upgrade in certain positions, and I think that's one. So even though I like what he did for us, he was good. He was good for us the last couple of years. But I do want to upgrade, so I'm not mad at it. And hopefully he can get a trade. Like Matt said, hopefully we can find somebody to get something for him. I doubt it. I don't think so. But
Dable, his wide receiver room is looking real slim right now. So who knows, man?
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe get a 6th or 7th, a 6th and 7th or something like that.
And that's what we're here to talk about, right? We're here to talk about free agency. We're here to kind of give a small preview of the upcoming draft and some positions that we think that we're gonna go after. But with that being said, let's get into our give and take segment, our trusty give and take segment. And what I wanted to do here is kind of talk about areas of need, right? Before we get into this idea of players that we kind of want to retain and players that we kind of just want to say, all right, be on your merry, have a great life. We appreciate your services. We have to identify areas of need, right? That's the biggest thing going into this season. We know what happened last year. We ended on a terrible, somber note, 13 seconds or less. Some people are saying whatever. And, we do have some areas of need. And so I'm gonna go to Rad first. Rad, can you identify at least 2 to 3 areas of need that you kind of see as a huge thing? And it could be offense and defense, because I think that everybody's gonna have a different opinion on it. I hope maybe.
Okay. I think the obvious one, I think, is offensive line. Can we upgrade offensive line? We got some free agents. Obviously, we're gonna talk about that later. But can we upgrade the offensive line through draft, through free agency? I don't know if we can move some stuff. So I think that's the number one thing. We got to protect Josh Allen. He's the franchise guy. He the best player in the league. For me, he might end up being the best player in the year. This time next year, I won't be shocked if Josh Allen the best player in the year, best player in the league, and we need to protect him. So I think Brandon B need to get offensive lineman. Also, I would like, even though obviously Levi Wallace is one of the free agents we're gonna talk about later on, I do still want to upgrade cornerback position if we can. So I think for my 2 is offensive line and cornerback.
And let me just ask this question, because I didn't necessarily see a lot of talk about it. Tre'Davious White is allotted to play the first game of the season. Is that what we're?
I don't know. No, I was going to talk about that because I was going to. Yep.
You get it at. You can go, Matt. How do you feel? What is our areas or positions of need?
I feel that our areas, I know I said it, and kind of our wrap up and how I think we should go moving forward. Going into last season, Bean wanted to build a team that could beat the Chiefs, and I know we talked about it. So I think number one, to do that, we have to get a little bit better at the edge rusher or defensive line position. and then we have to get more speed at corner. So, Tre'Davious White, he's obviously an all-pro, top-tier cornerback, but I know that they were saying the timeline was looking like, his surgery was good, but they're not going to rush him back. He could end up coming back midway through the season.
Wow.
So they're not slating or promising when he's coming back. So that makes the Levi Wallace signing a little bit more, prevalent in this area. So, and then, I don't know if you guys watched the combine, but this weekend, I think it was like the record for like most, every position was just blazing speed. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes said they got some new turf because it was crazy. It was crazy out there. It was
For
crazy
sure.
out there.
I think 3 cornerbacks ran under a 4.4. It just that every position group you had guys running faster than they ever did. So there's a lot of speed in this draft at every position. But corner is a huge glaring need. Speed at corner to beat a offensive juggernaut like the Chiefs.
Or even Cincinnati, right? Or Jamar Chase.
Yep, and then get into the quarterback. Jerry Hughes, Mario Addison, they're both unrestricted free agents. We got Boogie Basham and Greg Rousseau in the defensive end room right now, young guys. We have to address that in free agency or the draft.
Definitely. So let's, if we can recap that first, positions or areas of need. Cornerback, obviously, both of you stated that's something that we need to address, whether it is primarily probably in free agency. We know how, rookie cornerbacks, some have been produced, but
this draft,
produced.
the first round, they saying it's like 15 of them or 10 of them going in the first round. That's what they saying. As far as cornerbacks, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And let me just start this real quickly. I think that as far as the time, people are fast, right? You can't fake time, but I think that we're coming into an era where those college players are training at such a high level specifically for these events, right? I'm not saying that never has happened, but I think that now in 2022, it's probably so heightened where you're in, you got remember you used to have a Nike bag, in order to get faster, due to like you at Delaware Park with the Nike, but like now, I don't know what they have. They're running on treadmills at 22 miles per hour, kids 7 years old. Like, it's crazy. So I think that
shout out. Yeah. Well, hold on. Shout out Tape Kage. Josh went to Alabama. He said they got hyperbolic chambers.
Yeah,
they got
the whole nine.
He said the Alabama gym and all that stuff where they work out is
state of the art.
It's insane. He said the state of the art is the best thing he ever seen. They pretty much robots. They making robots. Not the robots, but they really are doing nothing but train recovery. That's all they do.
That's a fact. So we're seeing these inflated numbers, but regardless, that remains to be seen. We're gonna give a little bit of talk about the draft, but we talked about cornerback. Rad talked about O-line. We talked about defensive line. So we obviously want to improve that. But for me as well, I think some positions that we're not necessarily talking about is, I think punter is very important. And we're gonna talk about that. Yes, I think personally punter. I think
I'm with you, Rad. I think we had 3 games last year where we didn't punt a single time.
I understand that, but we had some games where we did do it, and it was really, really bad. Yeah, and okay. I think that's just something to look at. I don't want to be redundant about what y'all said, but also I think we need to talk about backup quarterback. I think that's very, very important. Yeah, that's a need. Gone. Right. Yeah. We had one of the best quarterbacks in football, Josh Allen, but at the same time, God forbid any of this happens, God forbid. But we saw Nick Foles take a team to the Super Bowl. So you don't know what's going to happen. You just want to be prepared for all scenarios. So backup quarterback is definitely a position of need. And also, right receiver is something that we have to address, and we talked about that. Right receiver is something that we have to address. And I want to ask this question. I don't know how y'all feel about this in the comments. How do we feel about, I guess I'm going to just throw it out there, a backup running back? Or do we need a running? Is that, so that's, we've been talking about that. We've been talking about running back for 2 years, right? Devin Singletary showed up. Devin Singletary showed us that he can play football at a great level. So are we just throwing that away? Is Devin Singletary the guy and we're just moving forward? How do you feel about that, Matt?
No, honestly, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say going into the season next year, he is the guy. He's going to be our guy going forward. But I do think that they're going to bring in somebody else like he has done the past few years. Just, and just, again, watching the combine, there's too much talent in like middle to late round talent at running back that I can't see Bean not taking a flyer at somebody like a Brees Hall. He could be like a late second rounder, early third rounder.
That's a high pick.
Or yeah,
I mean second round. That's draft capital.
I mean that's about where he drafted running backs. Like he drafted Zach Moss in the third and Mulder in the third, right? So I'm saying that they fall that low. Or Kenneth Walker from Michigan State. There's a couple guys that could definitely be there. Or there's free agents this year. There's playoff Lenny.
We're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it.
Yep.
We're gonna get to it.
But for sure, I think Mulder is the guy. Towards the end of the season, he definitely showed that he could step up and take that role.
So right before you even get to that, there's been some comments in here and we haven't mentioned it, and I don't know if it's an oversight or we really think that we're okay at that position. Because last year, or at least me, I talked about Tremaine Edmonds like a dog sometimes. I did. But how do you feel about the linebacker position? Do you think that Edmonds and Milano can do the job? Like, is it sufficient for what we're trying to do? Or
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I did have a lot of hype and expectations for Edmonds. I thought Edmonds was going to be a top 3 linebacker in the league, middle linebacker guy. I thought, you're looking at, San Fran guy. I forgot, what's his name from San Fran?
What's his name?
Whatever.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever, San Fran guy. him, number 54, I believe.
Fred Warner.
Yeah, Fred. I expected something of that from him. You know what I mean? I thought with his range, with his length, with his speed, he's going to be that type of guy, and he hasn't been, and that's fine. It's fine, but I think he's still serviceable. I think he's good enough. I think what they done, him and Milano, their combination is good, especially with our back end. You know what I mean, the hitman back there. So I think we're fine. I think they're fine. I'm never against upgrading any position if you could, if you feel like you can. I'm always for that. But I think those two guys has solidified their spot, and I'm good with them moving forward.
Okay. I think we touched upon a few areas of need. Obviously, the team may need a little bit more, but we're grasping at straws here, right? Most of it is kind of depth. We have our starters in these positions; they're not going anywhere, and so most of it is a depth thing. So, I mean, let's just see where we stand. So, let's talk about the cap situation real quickly, so we can get everybody abreast about what's going on as it stands right now. When I did my research, as it stands right now, we're minus about $3.2 million as it stands, like currently today. We're minus 3.2.
I thought we were in the plus a little bit more, but
generally, as it stands right now, we're about minus 3.2 million. Now, there are some things we can do as far as restructuring, certain people's contracts to get money, and there are some things we can do with honestly just releasing people so we can get money. Matt, do you have anything to say about that? I have a few things, but do you?
Well, yeah, just from a guys that can kind of give the team a break and not lose any money. Guys that are at least more than 2 years left on their contract, they can convert this year's salary into a signing bonus, and then they can become cap hits that aren't really crazy over the next few years. I know like Trey White is one. We could save about almost $7 million on him and only be an additional $2 million over the next 4 years. Deion Dawkins is one. We could save almost $5 million on him. Matt Milano, we could save almost $5 million on him. So that's, you're looking at about $17 million on 3 guys. And then you could do the same thing with Diggs, but I think that he's going to be up for an extension this year. So that's going to be another thing that could free up some money for this season and kind of backload it into the next few years. Because after this season, we're kind of done with all the dead contracts, and Bean's going to have some more wiggle room. So I can see him, working some magic leading up into free agency this week.
Yeah, they always talk about how, we always talk about Cat and all that, but somehow, some way, everybody figure out a way. Yeah,
Sure.
it's just what it is. I know that's an argument, but every team figured it out. So somehow, some way, like the cap is like imaginary cap. It's like an imaginary cap. So we'll see.
Well, let me ask y'all this, because Matt threw out some names. Some names that I seen was one of them was Cole Beasley, but he clearly doesn't want to restructure, so we have to move on from that. Daryl Williams, they say we can save if he restructures about $2.5 million. Star, he didn't have a great season last year. We can save about $2 million. I mean, we can restructure his deal, but he may be released. That may be a candidate. But there are some people who they said we should release. So let me ask y'all opinion on these 3 people. John Feliciano, that's 3.5 million. AJ Klein, that's 5.1 million, and Matt Hott, that's 1.2 million. That'll give us about $10 million just with those 3 players.
Yeah.
Rat, how do you feel about those 3 players? Should we cut bait with them?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I like Klein. I like Klein. He was good when he came. Feliciano, I mean, I think them all areas we can improve on. I'm not necessarily, tied to those guys. I think I would, if they're not willing to restructure, yes, you know what I mean. It's that simple for me.
Matt,
yeah, I mean.
Yeah, well, I would say I'm fine with Matt Hawk, and AJ Klein could definitely he could possibly go depending on how we do, but Feliciano is kind of tough because Ryan Bates and Ike Botka are both free agents this year, so that would leave us nobody at guard.
Well, that's
what I mean?
And that's the thing. That's considering we re-signed probably Bates, which we're going to talk about. But you're saying as it stands right now, you want to keep Feliciano.
It comes to a point where, we kind of got to have some bodies in the room. And those guys, as much as, they were up and down last year, towards the end of the season, as they played together more, they played pretty well. And not great, but they played good enough. And I don't think we should part ways with Feliciano just yet. Or, even those 2 other guys, I would actually sign both of them because of the money that we're going to spend on them isn't going to be anything crazy.
I mean, I was listening to Bean, when they was, I guess it was at the combine. I forgot where they was at, but his emphasis was we got to protect Josh. It wasn't on some yeah, we got to bring our guys back. He said, no, the first thing we got to do is protect Josh. And I think that was a direct, and I'm going to do whatever I can to improve the offensive line room. So I don't think he's standing pat. I don't think these guys is just going to just come in and just try to improve on next year. I think he's going to try to do something to improve that offensive line based on his tenor when he was talking about it. So I don't see it unless they try to restructure or something like that. I don't see, we'll see.
So
Spencer Brown's old teammate had a crazy combine this weekend too. That Trevor Penning dude, that's the opposite tackle from him. So
who should we release? Do you have some names of people who we should cut bait with?
Yeah, I got a few. I got, I think Hughes. Sorry, you gotta go.
Oh yeah.
Mario Addison, you can get out of here.
Bye-bye.
Peace. Emmanuel Sanders, you can go.
Well, they're not. We wouldn't release them, but we just not
retaining them. Yeah.
So let's back up and see who's free agents this year. You know what I mean? So we got Jerry Hughes, Mario Addison, like you said, Vernon Butler, Emmanuel Sanders, Mitch Trubisky. I mentioned Ike Botka and Ryan Bates, Justin Zimmer, Harrison Phillips, Bobby Hart,
keep him,
Isaiah McKenzie, and Levi Wallace and Tywan Jones. We already re-signed Saron Neal and Tyrell Dodson.
Okay, so we can do it. Let's do it this way. Let's talk about who should we resign, because obviously if you want to resign those people, then the other people will be released. That's an easier way of doing it for people.
Correct. Yeah,
all right.
Yes.
So Matt, who would you like to resign?
So I think two pivotal guys that we have to resign. I'm gonna go with 3. I'm gonna go with Harrison Phillips, number 1.
Absolutely.
Despite his injury problems, we're gonna get him on the tree. Currently, Sport Track has him listed as a $5.4 million a year value. Mm-hmm. So I think we can get him on the cheap, and he showed that he could work well at Oliver. We need a space eater type of one technique, so he could be that. Levi Wallace, like I said, we have to keep the cornerback room either in shape, or just we can't lose guys in that room. We just can't. Levi, despite not being a number 1 cornerback, we could also get him kind of on the cheap too. He's rated as about a $9 million a year value in the free agency market. And then the third guy is if we get rid of Cole, and then Emmanuel Sanders is going to be gone. Isaiah McKenzie, he's young. He's a gadget guy. I think he fits well in the offense, and obviously, he showed that he can do well not only in the receiver room, but on the return side. So Isaiah for sure too.
Do you think that we're going to have enough money to sign Isaiah McKenzie?
I think so. I don't think he's gonna get a crazy amount of money. I think it's gonna be. I didn't see what he was valued at, but I can't see him getting a contract for as little as he played. he had the one game or the 2 games that he played well. I'm gonna say he's valued. This is just me going off on a whim here, but probably about $3-4 million a year. He got $1 million to play here last year, so it's not gonna jump up to nothing crazy like 10 million. If he gets that somewhere, God bless him, but he's not getting that here.
I mean, generally receivers always are overpaid during like this time. I mean, it's like
so let's put it like this though. Christian Kirk is valued at $10 million a year right now. He's not getting close to that same value.
oh no, I don't think so. That's a lot.
That's my range.
Yeah, but it's 2 people. Like the 2 people, I mean, my 2 people is Phillips and Levi Wallace. Harrison Phillips and Levi Wallace are 2 people I want to keep. I think Levi Wallace is because is the Trey White injury. Yep. And he played good. I know, going into the season, there was a lot of talk about is Levi Wallace good enough to be the number 2. I think, obviously the last play, the Tyreek Hill, running past them wasn't, I guess leave a bad taste in your mouth. But besides that, I think he had a quality season. And I think, if we don't sign him, somebody will. I think he's going to get paid in his offseason. I think he's going to be, cornerbacks are valuable in this league. And we had one of the better back halves, and he was a part of that. You know what I mean? So I think keeping him and obviously Harrison Phillips, I think them the 2 people we should prioritize. But even if not, I think we got some people in free agency that maybe we can, replace them. But them the 2 people I want to keep. McKenzie, I understand what you said about McKenzie, but I think we could replace McKenzie in the draft or somewhere. So I'm not on as high as McKenzie. Maybe that's me, but I think them 2 are the 2 people I prioritize.
Yeah, the return game is really what does it for McKenzie for me, because even, despite that one fumble, he showed that he could be a really good returner, reliable returner. And I don't think Marquez Stevenson is ready in that role. I just don't love him back there returning kicks or punts. And I don't want Micah Hyde back there doing it either.
I'll say this. I also think, like we talked about Ryan Bates, I think he's someone that we need to resign. I think he's very important, definitely for O-line depth, and he played good last year. Also, so do we think that? What do you think we're gonna do with Dane Jackson? Right. So we're saying that we're gonna re-sign Levi Wallace. So in the beginning of the season, since Tre'Davious White is probably not coming back, according to Matt, Levi Wallace would be the number 1 corner and Dane Jackson would be the number 2 corner. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way the depth chart is slated right now. Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, we'd have to throw Levi into that number 1 role, or we could hit the free agent market. You know what I mean? And bring in another guy. There's a couple guys that are obviously out there. There's, I don't think we're going to get a guy like J.C. Jackson because he's going to draw too big of a price.
We got to bring back We got to bring back our homie, bro, that we let go. You got to bring him back, bro.
So
Stephon Gilmore.
Number 2 on that list, Stephon Gilmore.
Okay. Let's talk about it then. Let's talk about the free agents. Let's just get right into it. Matt, you right there. Stick with it.
Yep.
Just go right into it.
Yeah. So I mean, Stephon Gilmore, he's going to play on a 1 or 2 year deal. He's going to want some decent bread. Former defensive MVP. He can play at an All-Pro caliber, and will he? I think he doesn't care about how he left here because he wants to win at the end of the day. So. A guy like that. There's another guy in Casey Hayward Jr. Who played for the Chargers last year. He might be a kind of guy. I know Sport Track had him valued. He's the 3rd best corner free agent available, listed at maybe like a $6 to $7 million a year value. So we could bring in a veteran guy like that could play in the role with the guys that we currently have, and we still have the best safety duo. So the corners will be able to get help in those games with those guys playing.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to look at Stephon Gilmore. I didn't want to give him away, but we got Trey, so I'm not mad at it. But I would look at Stephon Gilmore, see if he want to come back. You got people like Rasul Douglas. Also, I think like I said earlier, I think the cornerbacks is real. It's a real heavy part of the draft this year, and I think we should definitely in that first round be looking at getting a cornerback. I'm not saying we're just gonna rely on a rookie cornerback, but still, I think we are that first round. I think in the draft when we talk about, I think a cornerback is definitely something we should look at. So if not Stephon Gilmore, somebody that Matt said, I think I'm not mad. I'm not mad going into the season with Dane Jackson, Levi Wallace, Trey White coming back, and a rookie first round cornerback. So I'll be fine with that as well. So even if we don't have somebody in free agency.
Now we'll definitely get into more cornerbacks, obviously, on the draft shows coming up. But like I said, it's gonna be.
So-
we got to build a team to beat those offenses, right? Those high-powered offenses. Corner is obviously huge.
But what other free agents are we looking at? Let's get into that. Like, what other free agents
Okay.
are we looking at?
Yep.
That's
So
Who you want to
Brad.
start with? What
let's see
position?
I mean, I really just wanted if you wanted to give me 3 free agents that you want to key on, like I want you to do it in that way because we could go position by position, but I mean that's like we could just start. I can name anybody, but give me 3 players who you're looking at. Like, okay, these are 3 players I want to key on.
Okay, like a lot of it depends on who we bring back.
Obviously,
Like if obviously, so for me, I like Stephon Gilmore to bring Stephon Gilmore back.
okay.
That's somebody I would like to bring back. There's a lot of buzz about bringing Gronk in. You know what I mean? And I that was a lot of buzz because he's a tight end who can help, knocks out, and as far as mentorship. And he's one of the best blocking tight ends, if not the best blocking tight end of all time. He's gonna help, protect Josh. It can help protect Josh, and he helped protect Tom Brady. So I'm not even mad at bringing out a Gronk in, so we can go the 11 and 12 personnel. That'll help us there. Obviously I said something about O-line help. I don't know if we can bring in somebody like a Brandon Shreve from Washington football team. That might be a high price ticket right there because he like the top 3 guard in football. So somebody like that, and like I want to upgrade. I do want to upgrade the wide receiver because if we obviously Mayo Sanders probably gonna be gone, Beasley is gonna be gone, and I'm not the biggest fan of McKenzie bringing him back. So I could see us getting like somebody like an Allen Robinson because he's gonna be cheap because he had a down year. He's better than what he played like so somebody like an Allen Robinson, or even if you want to go gadget, Cordell Patterson is I believe is a free agent, so we can go like a Cordell Patterson.
He's way too much money.
We'll see. I don't know, but he could. But this is gonna be a good position. He probably is.
He had too many touchdowns. He had a lot of touchdowns last year. I mean,
he's still what 32, 30. He's still older. He's not a young guy. I'm just saying. This is like obviously people we can bring. If we upgrade the wide receiver position, I like an Allen Robinson or a gadget guy like a Cordell Patterson.
Absolutely. No, so for me, I talked about a position that I really would love to see us go and get somebody. So I have my biggest wish in free agency is for it's gonna cost some money, but Harold Landry is a free agent from Tennessee. He's 26 years old, coming off his rookie contract. He's gonna demand a big ticket.
He's not. That's a ticket.
It's a ticket. But if we free up the money, I wouldn't mind spending the money. Right now, he's projected to get like a 4-year deal at like $15 million. I mean, he's coming off his best season. And he's only 26 years old. You put a guy like that, who was a proven, guy who's able to go get the quarterback with a young guy with a high ceiling like Rousseau and bash him, and who knows, we can get some more in the draft. Now that's just like a super wish list. Like that's my number 1 guy in free agency for sure. But then you look at other positions. I mentioned Casey Hayward. He'd be a pretty good veteran to bring in at the corner position. Then you got guys at the linebacker. I know I don't know too much about him, but the guy who was linked to us was Uchenna Nwosu. He's a linebacker from the Chargers. He played a lot last year, so he could be a good addition. And then the wide receiver room, I mentioned him earlier. Christian Kirk was linked to us because he's been vacationing with Josh Allen. Whatever that is. But something, obviously something that'd be an immediate upgrade, a take the top off the defense type of player, right? So, I'm not against bringing, and who knows, the culture has changed, right? You hear all the guys in the combine, they want to play with Josh Allen, they want to come here. Guys want to come here in free agency now. They don't care anymore. They want to come and they feel like we can win here. So. That could play into a couple contracts too, but those guys for me would be solid pickups for us for sure. Heading into the draft.
I'll say this. It's tough for me because like when we talk about the Levi Wallace and the Stephon Gilmore, we're not doing both. Like
no, I don't think so.
That's just not. It's either or. So I mean, it's that's an either or thing. So I'm just saying, so preference-wise, either or, who are y'all taking?
Well, I mean, if you got, obviously you got to look at.
I'm asking.
I'd bring in Gilmore over Levi for sure, but
Okay.
you're not going to get as much time out of Gilmore that you would out of Levi. But obviously, we're in a win now climate, right? So yeah, if you're putting them next to each other and you're going to get them for around the same value, definitely Gilmore.
Right.
Yeah, I'm a lean Gilmore. I think, but I'm not mad at. I mean, I think Levi has improved. I think he's not as fast, but Gilmore wasn't a burner himself. So I think Gilmore is a little better, but I'm not mad at keeping. We just had the best backhand last year. He played every game. Levi played every game. And keeping that that camaraderie and keeping that consistency in that room, I'm gonna be mad at that either. So I'm not necessarily looking for a upgrade there, but if we can, I'm not against it. But I won't be mad if we go into the season with Levi Wallace as our one until Trey get back.
I hear you. For me, I'll say this: as far as D line, I need our scouting team, and I need Brandon Bean to be very, very, very savvy this free agency. I know they're going to create cap space, but and I've been talking about this because I don't know if we're gonna be able to get those high price players because they're gonna ask for a lot of money. Everybody is. That's just the nature of the beast. But a Melvin Ingram, I think if we could get like really 12 good games out of him in the regular season, he's not gonna play all the 17 games, but 12 good games, and then in the playoffs he can give us that 1 or 2 sacks to kind of make things, it's shifted. He played good last year for the Kansas City Chiefs. He played good. He came on strong. A JPP. It's they're fringe. They're not necessarily long in the tooth, but we know that they have ability, and we only could give them $2-3 million. And yo, bro, just come to Buffalo. You got $2-3 million. We're a very rotational defensive line. You're not gonna play every down, but when we need you to come in on third down and get that sack, get it. So I'm looking at a player like those Melvin Ingram, JPP. If we could go there, for wide receiver, for me, the trend has been we just go old. We get an old player that was tried and no, honest to God, and the person out there is AJ Green, and he played good last year. He got $8 million last year. He's not gonna get $8 million this year. He's just not. But if we could get him on a discount, $3, $4, $5 million, maybe something can shake. So I'm looking at him and running back. I think that we need to be looking at 3 players. Sony Michel played good last year for the Rams. He was not terrible. He's a serviceable back.
He hurt.
Huh?
He serves a back.
Yeah,
he
he
is.
back.
Sir.
JD McKissick, I think third down back is very important. Third down back is very important. We need somebody to go out and see if they can catch a couple balls. Devin Singletary cannot do it all. He just can't. We can't play him. He's not an every down back. But if we get a JD McKissick, we know he's a third down back. He's going to play third downs, and he's going to catch the ball and give me 3, 4, 5 yards to extend the play. That's what he does. I think that's $1 million, $2 million, something quick. Boom, we got him. And I'm shooting for the stars and the fences. I think James Conner, man, red zone back. He was amazing for Arizona last year.
He gonna want a deal though. He just
he
came
played
out.
good,
He gonna
yeah.
want a deal.
That's
He gonna want a
true.
deal. He's like, yo,
So-
I'm better than what y'all thought I was.
He got cancer
I
though,
think he
bro.
want a deal.
We got Roswell. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. People.
Okay.
I mean,
We
I'm
got
talking
pink hoodies too. What you mean? What did that mean?
I'm talking about living. I'm talking about people want to live.
Okay.
I know it's cold, but we got treatment here. I don't know if we could work on a deal with that. But that's just how I feel about it. Matt.
Yeah, and then I that position, the position with Harold Landry too, another guy. You hate, sometimes you love and you hate to see it. The Carolina Pipeline. Hassan Reddick is a free agent this year too. We could bring in a guy like that. Then 2 guys, a position I did talk about was linebacker.
Yeah.
There's 2 other guys that I know people are saying Tremaine maybe might need to get out of the middle. There's a guy in Leighton Vander Esch. He's a free agent this year. We could get him on the cheap. Concussions, yeah, but he is a serviceable middle linebacker that could play
Oh, you're right.
the AJ Klein role, right? Him or a Josie Jewell from Denver. Those guys are both 2 guys that I think could fit the AJ Klein thing perfectly and kind of help Tremaine in with whatever's going on in the middle there.
My question is, who you think we gonna get as our backup?
Quarterback.
Tyrod.
That's what I was going to. I like Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton. I don't know if Andy Dalton wants to start still. He probably should stop trying to want to do that. But I think that Andy Dalton is serviceable. And another name, I don't know if you was going to say it, Matt. I think Marcus Mariota, man.
He's trying to go for a start. He's going for a starting job.
You think so?
That's a fact. Yes.
Oh my
If
goodness.
Mr. Trubisky going for one, why won't Mariota go
Mitchell
for one?
Trubisky is trying to start somewhere.
Yeah, people got him people saying people like
He's
Indy
terrible.
and Pittsburgh is going to get one of these guys, these fringe guys, the Mariota guys, these Trubisky guys, the Jameis Winston guys, the people who think they a quarterback away or trying to be a placeholder. I think Trubisky gonna go for. People linked them to Indy, because the whole cart they trying to blow up the whole Carson Wentz thing. So I think Trubisky gonna try to, Mariota as well gonna try to go to a place where they can compete for a starting job. Obviously, if you come to Bills, you're a backup.
Okay.
So that's where you got. That's where you go into like you said, a Tyrod, Cam Newton. You go to those people who definitely know they're going to be backups. Not even, you know what I mean, for the low.
Or there's
For the low.
There's two guys that are on my radar. One guy's kind of a guy we're talking about. He does feel. I'm sure he feels like he's a quarterback away. And Teddy Bridgewater. We can bring him in. He is what he is, or just a guy that I personally wouldn't be mad about is Fitz, man. Fitz, he let him end his career here.
Oh my God.
He's not the worst option. I mean, obviously we're not projecting him to play at all, right? So
right.
He's a Buffalo guy.
He is.
Seen him here in the playoff game with his shirt off in the cold, but I wouldn't be opposed to that either.
You said Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Fitz
I heard Teddy Bridgewater, bro.
No. He said Teddy,
Oh,
and then he said Fitz. That's all I was like, oh hell. And then you was like, I'm like, I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, he definitely a quarterback's coach. He should go ahead and transition now, bro. Go ahead and be a quarterback coach, bro.
I mean, he came in. Ken Dorsey was here too when he was a long time ago when he was here, like kind of in that little player development role. So they would mesh well together, I think, and he could help Josh.
I wouldn't be mad at it. That's not something shock. I won't be shocked if we do something like that.
Let me say this, and then we've been on for a few minutes, and tune in next week. Definitely tune in next week. We're going to talk about the draft extensively, right? That's definitely going to be the coming shows. We're just trying to get all the information. There's a lot of information going out, but we just kind of want to hone in the information and give our, honest and our most effective opinion on the draft and what we should do. But to answer these questions, because there's been a lot of questions about Tremaine Edmonds, moving him to the outside. Nobody wants him to be in the middle and going after a linebacker in the draft. Let me just say this. I do not like Tremaine Edmonds. I have been on this show and I've said it multiple times. But with that being said, Tremaine Edmonds is serviceable. Like, granted, I agree with Zach. Big moments, I don't know what was happening. Sometimes he just didn't show up. But for the most part, we had the number one defense. Tremaine Edmonds is a decent, to below average corner linebacker. He has some speed. He has some wherewithal. He can tackle. He just always falls back when he tackles. He never falls forward when he tackles for whatever reason. But for the most part, he's serviceable. He's been here. He knows the defense. He can call the plays. Like, I'm just not ready to just throw him aside and just go, let's go
okay
first round. Like, he's all right.
To good. He's okay to good. He's okay to good.
And the thing about it is, if we're not getting a Warner, if we're not getting like a top 10 linebacker,
great to elite,
then it's like, let's just roll with the punches, right? Let's just do it by committee. Let's rely on Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott in order to scheme us up, in order to do what we have to do. Because at the end of the day, Matt said it, Rad said it. God bless Tre'Davious White. Hopefully he comes back. We have a top 5 secondary in football, right? That's what we say, right? We have a top 5 secondary in football, huh?
Yeah, and we got probably the best 2 tackling. I mean, you got Jamal Adams out there, stuff like that, but we got the Poyer is one of the best tackling safeties in the league. Period.
Right.
So
the best.
He is what he is.
Yeah.
So he supplants a lot of that.
Absolutely. And so what we need to do is, I think, moving forward to answer these questions, I don't think linebacker is necessarily a need. Maybe we do need depth. That's fine. But I think if we can service our D-line and get some more pressure and get some more cornerback depth, I think we'll be fine. Like that, we'll just roll with the punches and tackle by committee. That's my opinion on that. But we're going to get to all of that stuff in the coming show. So please tune in. We appreciate all the comments. We appreciate everybody being on. And I just want to say this, overduebillspod.com, overduebillspod.com. Please go there right now and get the merch. We got some few pieces left. We're going to, you know what I mean, re-up. You know, shout out to the re-up, man. And Matt, do you have any more announcements for the people?
No, not at the moment, man. Not at the moment. Just keep on tuning in. Like Sam said, free agency starts next week, so we're going to be going over, you know, probably who the Bills will pick up, how it kind of shakes up around the league, and where we are going to be going, you know, into the draft after free agency, kind of see what needs change, right? So yeah, definitely.
I got one question. I got one last question. How would y'all feel if we have a quiet free agency? Do y'all feel like we got to make a move, or if we kind of re-sign our guys and just kind of go and say we're going to draft some people? Like, if we quiet in free agency, do y'all think y'all going, how do y'all, like, I guess foreshadow, if we quiet in free agency, how would y'all feel about that?
I'll answer this question real quickly. I think that if we're quiet in free agency, Brandon Beane is trigger shy. And the point being is this, unless he has some great concoction about trading and figuring something out, we are trying to win a Super Bowl, right? We're trying to win a Super Bowl. We're a couple pieces away. Let's figure out how to move some money around and get some fringe people in order to do what we have to do, right? Like, that's just as simple as that. Like, we're trying to win a Super Bowl. We need players. It's not like we don't need people. I understand re-signing is fine, but we saw last year, even though we was down Tre'Davious White and a few other things didn't go our way, but at the end of the day, we do need some things in order to get us over that hump. That's my opinion.
Yeah, so my opinion on that is I think with the success and the culture that they've built here, I think that he's not going to have the option to be quiet in free agency, because I think it's going to be very easy for him to sign any kind of players that he wants to, as long as he can make the money happen this offseason. He's in a very good position to where players want to play here. They think they can win here, and they love everything about here now.
All right. Shout out to all y'all. We appreciate y'all. And y'all know how we end every show with a little bit of hey, 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 hey.